In the latest episode of the Celebrity Traitors, Jonathan Ross has his last double bluff. He's been figured out, he's been had, and he's been banished as the first traitor out this season. Now, Jonathan, he's very suave, he talks the talk, but even this would have been a feat for him to get through this round table. The traitors ended up murdering Lucy. At first, I thought Nick would be the obvious play because he's kind of like clued up and onto Jonathan Ross. But I think Lucy was actually the perfect play because there was suspicion from Nick, who is kind of one of the head traitor hunters, that Lucy, he was pretty adamant that Lucy was a traitor. And the fact that she's not one because she's been murdered, that would be like, oh my God, like I was so wrong about Lucy. Who else am I so wrong about, right? I think maybe Jonathan was hoping that would swing in his favour, but I think that was more so to help out Kat, which is probably why she went along with that. But ultimately, the heat was on Jonathan. Joe was determined to test the Jonathan Ross big dog theory out. Stephen, he's a faithful, so the only one left to try is Jonathan Ross. Celia was very much like, okay, we've got to do it now. We've got to get Jonathan Ross out. The numbers were already stacked against him. To me, I think Jonathan Ross's downfall was that he's very overly confident and he just thought that he could talk his way out of everything, and that wasn't the case. I also think another big thing that he did that he shouldn't have done was play devil's advocate, because at some point it's going to be like, are you the devil's advocate, or are you just the devil pretending to be an advocate? That's what it was given. Even at the breakfast table, Nick was talking about, oh, you must have, been outside with me and the other faithfuls. And he's basically like, yeah, I was, but I wasn't going to say anything because, the traitors were there as well and they know what went on as well. And it's just kind of like, now you're making people second guess you by playing devil's advocate when really you should just be standing firm that you're a faithful. To me, I would just always be suspicious of somebody constantly playing devil's advocate in this game. And I'm suspicious of people who play devil's advocate in general, to be honest. Obviously, he was thrown under the bus by his fellow traitors. Kat was no surprise. That was brewing. Joe basically gave her an ultimatum in the last roundtable and was basically like, you need to say something now. And if she didn't say anything, she definitely would have been suspicious. Alan was thinking, yes, let's continue in the united front and let's all vote for Joe. And Kat was basically like, hell nah, I'm going to look so suspicious if I do that. Alan Carr, he did vote for Jonathan Ross, but he was dragging his feet. And I think him dragging his feet made him look more suspicious. I think maybe it's got a little heat off of him now that he voted Jonathan Ross. But this has now just contributed on top of the other suspicious things that he's done, such as the shield. Alan definitely should have voted for Jonathan Ross earlier. Jonathan, who went out gracefully at the round table, he didn't drag his fellow traitors under the bus. Even his bit at the end, he was very dedicated to this role. I'll give it to him. Perfect casting. And he threw them another lifeline because he didn't put their names on the slate. He put down David's name on the slate, which of course, people are already saying, well, is that his parting gift? He says that he's wishing his fellow traitors the best and hopes that they can make it to the end. But will they? I think that there's a lot of heat on Alan, and I don't think the heat is going to go away. I think if the traitors do win this season, it will be because of Kat, potentially with a recruit, or Kat alone. But I got to hear from you guys. What do we think about Jonathan Ross's departure? Do you feel like, he played a good game, but, he got? Do we feel like maybe if he conducted himself differently, he could have got further, won the game with the traitors? Who liked him, who didn't like him? Let me know your thoughts. And, what do we think about, the faithfuls now getting out a traitor? Do we feel like they have momentum now? Are they going to get other traitors? I've got to hear from you guys.